Welcome to today's deep dive into one of humanity's most persistent companions, self-doubt with the social lens. I'm your host, Beatrice Goodwin, and today we're going to explore something that touches every single one of us, yet remains one of our most misunderstood psychological phenomena. Say, you're about to give a presentation at work. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and that familiar voice whispers in your ear, "What if they discover you don't really know what you're talking about?" Or maybe you're on a first date, and despite looking great and having interesting things to say, you can't shake the feeling that you're somehow not enough. Here's the thing that might surprise you. That self-doubt you're experiencing. It might not be your enemy. In fact, by the end of today's journey, you'll understand why some of the most successful people in the world have learned to dance with their doubt rather than fight it. We're going to explore 7 fascinating segments today, each revealing a different facet of this complex psychological landscape. From the paradox of being wrong to the science of positive illusions. From the 3 enemies that sabotage our minds to the sweet spot where confidence meets humility. Think self-doubt is your downfall? At Scoob, we turn it into your greatest strength through powerful, bite-sized stories that challenge the way you think. Download the Scoob app now on the App Store or Play Store and start your journey today. So settle in, because we're about to turn everything you think you know about self-doubt upside down. Let's start with a story that will fundamentally shift how you think about failure and growth. Michael Jordan once said, he succeeded because he failed repeatedly. But what if I told you that the secret to a better life isn't about being right? It's about being wrong in increasingly sophisticated ways? Here's a revolutionary idea. Personal growth isn't about leaping from wrong to right. It's about transitioning from being wrong to being slightly less wrong. With each new experience, each lesson learned, we move from slightly less wrong to even less wrong, continuously approximating truth and perfection without ever truly achieving them. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a scientist in the laboratory of your own life. Your values become your hypotheses, educated guesses about what behaviors matter and which ones don't. Your actions are your experiments, and the emotions and thought patterns that result, that's your data. This transforms self-improvement from a destination into a journey of scientific inquiry. No single dogma or ideology is perfect. What seems right for you today has been shaped by your unique experiences that are, inevitably, somewhat flawed. And here's the beautiful part. As you grow older and gain more experience, even your right answers will evolve. Consider someone who spends years believing they need to work 80 hours a week to be successful, only to discover that working smarter, not harder, yields better results. Or someone who thinks they must be agreeable to everyone, only to learn that healthy boundaries create deeper relationships. These aren't failures, they're iterations toward wisdom. But here's where it gets interesting. The biggest obstacle to living a fulfilling life isn't the fear of failure or rejection, though those are painful. The real fear that paralyzes us is much deeper. It's the fear of challenging our long-held certainties, values that have previously given our lives meaning. Take the woman who yearns for a partner but never makes an effort to meet new people. Society tells us she fears rejection. But the deeper truth? She's avoiding dating because it would force her to confront her insecurities about her attractiveness. Or consider the man who works tirelessly and believes he deserves a promotion but never discusses it with his boss. His real fear isn't rejection. It's having to reconsider his assumptions about his skills' worth. It's often more comfortable to remain in painful certainty, believing you're unattractive or unappreciated, than to test these beliefs and possibly invalidate them. These negative belief systems offer short-term comfort at the cost of long-term happiness and success. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Nothing is genuinely certain until it happens, and even then, the validity can be debated. This is why acknowledging the inherent imperfections in our values is necessary for personal growth. Rather than pursuing certainty, we should seek constant doubt about our beliefs, our feelings, and what the future holds unless we proactively shape it ourselves. The quest shouldn't be to always be right. It should be to recognize how we are persistently wrong, because in reality, we are wrong far more often than we care to admit. And that's not a weakness. It's the very foundation of wisdom. Now that we understand the power of being wrong, let's dive deeper into what actually prevents us from embracing this growth mindset. There are 3 specific enemies that lurk in our subconscious, creating a trinity of self-sabotage: indecision, doubt, and fear. Here's how they work together in a devastating sequence. It starts with indecision, that uncertain state where we can't commit to a direction. This indecision then crystallizes into doubt, and together, these 2 forces mutate into fear. The transformation is often so gradual that it goes completely unnoticed, making it particularly dangerous. Think of indecision as the crack in the foundation. Maybe you're considering a career change, but can't decide if it's the right move. That uncertainty feels manageable at first. But as days turn into weeks, that indecision hardens into doubt. Maybe I'm not capable of making a good decision. And eventually, that doubt transforms into fear. If I make the wrong choice, I'll ruin my life. These 3 negative states are so intricately intertwined that where one exists, the others are likely nearby, collectively impeding personal progress and mental clarity. It's like having 3 locked doors between you and your potential, and you need to open all 3 to move forward. Consider the fear of poverty that gripped America during the Great Depression of 1929. This wasn't just about individuals lacking money. It was a collective psychological state so powerful that it helped trigger one of the worst economic downturns in history. The fear was so pervasive that it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, demonstrating how these ghosts of fear, though intangible, can cause very real damage. But here's what's fascinating. These fears are mere figments of the imagination. They exist only in our minds, yet they exhibit a potent influence that can lead to substantial mental damage, just as physical entities could cause harm. The antidote begins with recognition. You must study, analyze, and understand these 3 enemies before you can employ any philosophy of personal growth effectively. It's like trying to use a GPS while these 3 enemies are jamming the signal. You simply can't reach your destination until you clear the interference. This is where the concept of the 6th sense, that intuitive wisdom that guides us toward right action, becomes relevant. This inner wisdom cannot operate as long as these negative elements persist in the mind. It's as if indecision, doubt, and fear create static that prevents us from hearing our own inner guidance. The key insight here is that indecision is the precursor to everything else. When we learn to make decisions, even imperfect ones, we break the cycle before it can gain momentum. Remember, in our previous segment, we established that being wrong is part of the process. This means that making an imperfect decision and learning from it is infinitely better than making no decision at all. The goal isn't to eliminate all uncertainty. That's impossible and even undesirable. The goal is to prevent uncertainty from calcifying into paralysis. When you feel indecision creeping in, that's your cue to act, even if you don't have all the information you'd like. Because here's the truth. The cost of indecision is almost always higher than the cost of making an imperfect decision. And once you break the cycle of indecision, you rob doubt and fear of their power over you. Here's something that might blow your mind. Overconfidence is considered one of the most consistent and troublesome human biases. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman once said that if he had magical powers to eradicate a single bias from human nature, it would be overconfidence. So why am I about to argue that we need more confidence, not less? The answer lies in understanding a crucial distinction. There's a difference between harmful overconfidence and strategic confidence. Overconfidence leads to blind spots and poor decisions. But underconfidence? That invariably impedes success, making it essential to address. Think about this scenario. You're hiring between two equally qualified candidates. One articulates an expectation to be merely average, while the other conveys an expectation to excel. Who would you hire? The choice is obvious. You'd choose the confident candidate. While this choice might sometimes backfire, confidence often indicates resilience, signifying that the person will persist in the face of failure. But here's where it gets nuanced. Excessive confidence can be either beneficial or detrimental for those pursuing goals. It's a double-edged sword. However, underconfidence is always detrimental. This is why addressing underconfidence becomes crucial for anyone serious about personal growth. Our beliefs about our capabilities are significantly influenced by the feedback we receive from people around us. This makes it essential to surround ourselves with individuals who bolster our belief in our potential and support our growth. But it goes deeper than just choosing supportive friends. Research by Lauren S. Grice-Winkler reveals something fascinating about feedback. The type of feedback we provide has a significant impact on others' success. For instance, giving unsolicited advice can inadvertently imply a lack of confidence in someone's abilities, thereby undermining their chances of success. Conversely, seeking advice from someone communicates trust and belief in their abilities, which can greatly enhance their potential for achievement. This is why, when pursuing our own goals, it can be highly beneficial to adopt the role of an advisor. When we're helping others solve problems, we naturally feel more capable and confident. This confidence then transfers to our own challenges. Our actions also convey powerful messages. When we reinforce stereotypes, like asking a man to handle numerical data while a woman takes notes, we implicitly suggest who is deemed capable of success. These subtle communications shape not just others' confidence, but our own sense of what we're capable of. Even the way we compliment others affects confidence. Compliments that attribute success to inherent talent can foster a fixed mindset, leading to the belief that failure reflects immutable qualities. Conversely, praising effort and hard work promotes a growth mindset, encouraging the understanding that perseverance leads to results. Instead of saying, "That was a brilliant presentation," try, "I'm impressed by how your presentations keep improving." This shift acknowledges growth and effort rather than fixed ability. Feeling relatable? I hope so. The key insight here is that confidence isn't about believing you'll never face challenges or setbacks. They are inevitable. The crucial factor is your response to them. By surrounding yourself with a supportive network, adopting the perspective of an advice giver, forgiving yourself for minor failures, and recognizing that setbacks are opportunities for growth, you can overcome self-doubt. As the saying goes, believe you can and you're halfway there. But remember, this isn't about blind optimism. It's about strategic confidence coupled with the humility to keep learning and growing. Now we come to what might be the most important concept in this entire discussion: the sweet spot between confidence and humility. Most people think of confidence and humility as opposite ends of a seesaw. Too much confidence tips you toward arrogance, too little makes you overly meek. But this mental model is fundamentally flawed. True humility doesn't mean having a low opinion of yourself. The Latin root of humility means from the earth. It implies being grounded. Real humility involves recognizing your own flaws and imperfections, while staying aware that you are a fallible being. Confidence, on the other hand, is a measure of self-belief. Here's the crucial distinction. Confidence doesn't require certainty about the methods you use to achieve your goals. You can have confidence in your long-term abilities while retaining humility and constantly questioning whether you have the right tools at present. This balance, confident humility, is where real growth happens. Arrogance makes us blind because we become overly convinced of both our strengths and our strategies. Doubt paralyzes us when we lack conviction in any domain. An inferiority complex afflicts those who know the right methodologies, but doubt their ability to implement them effectively. The goal is to achieve a state where you have faith in your abilities while being aware that you might not possess the right solutions or even be tackling the right problems. This allows you to maintain enough doubt to reassess old knowledge while having sufficient confidence to pursue new insights. Let me share a perfect example of confident humility in action. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, had an idea for footless pantyhose. She had confidence in her ability to bring the idea to fruition, but was filled with doubt about her existing resources. At the time, Blakely was working a day job selling fax machines door to door and lacked specific knowledge about fashion, retail, or manufacturing. During the prototype design phase, she spent a week visiting hosiery mills to solicit help. She read a book on patent law and completed her application herself because she couldn't afford legal assistance. Her uncertainty wasn't crippling because she remained confident that she could surmount the challenges she faced. Her confidence didn't lie in her present knowledge, but in her capacity to learn and adapt. This is the essence of confident humility, believing in your ability to figure things out while acknowledging that you don't have all the answers right now. The beautiful thing about confident humility is that it can be taught and developed. In one experiment, students who read an article about the benefits of admitting ignorance were more likely to seek extra help for areas they found challenging. Their likelihood of seeking help jumped from 65% to 85%. These students were also more inclined to explore opposing political views to understand different perspectives. Confident humility doesn't just open the mind to rethinking, it enhances the quality of that rethinking. College and graduate students who show willingness to revise their beliefs achieve higher grades than their peers. High school students who openly admit their lack of knowledge are viewed by teachers as more effective learners and by peers as more contributive team members. Over time, they achieve significantly higher math grades compared to their more self-assured peers. Instead of assuming mastery over material, these students frequently test their understanding. In professional settings, when adults acknowledge their gaps in knowledge, they tend to pay greater attention to the strength of evidence and spend more time reading material that contradicts their beliefs. Studies of leadership effectiveness reveal that the most productive and innovative teams aren't led by individuals who are merely confident or merely humble, but by those who excel in both qualities. Such leaders are keenly aware of their strengths and equally cognizant of their limitations, understanding the need to address and surmount these limitations to achieve excellence. The path forward is clear. Evaluate yourself with the meticulousness of scientists examining specimens under microscopes. Maintain confident humility by positioning yourself in a state of continuous growth and improvement. This fosters both personal and professional development while avoiding the twin traps of arrogance and paralysis. Now for a plot twist that might change everything you think you know about self-doubt. What if I told you that some of the most innovative and successful people in the world have learned to use their self-doubt as a superpower? Uncertainty functions as a powerful motivator for inquiry and openness to new ideas. It acts as a preventive measure against falling into the Dunning-Kruger effect, that cognitive bias where people with limited knowledge or competence in a domain overestimate their own knowledge or competence in that domain. Let me tell you about Hala, a remarkable woman whose experience illustrates this perfectly. Her bouts with imposter syndrome kept her alert and constantly evolving, a quality more commonly seen in scientists than in conventional politicians. She suggests that imposter syndrome might play an essential role in fostering innovation and change because it drives individuals to question established norms and strive for new approaches. Imposters rarely assert, "This is how we do things around here," she noted. Instead, they don't fixate on declaring the right way. Her eagerness to learn and adapt was evident as she actively sought advice from a diverse array of sources, demonstrating her commitment to both personal and professional growth, despite her initial self-doubts. When Hala ran for Iceland's presidency, she faced significant challenges. Unlike her male rivals, who benefited from extensive media coverage and larger campaign budgets, she started with substantial disadvantages. Despite these challenges, her performance on Election Day was exceptional, capturing over a quarter of the votes and finishing second with 28% of the vote. She significantly outperformed one of her main rivals, who secured less than 14% and finished in fourth place. This scenario exemplifies a broader reality about great thinkers and innovators. Their doubts don't arise from seeing themselves as imposters. Rather, these doubts emerge from a deeply rooted awareness of the limitations of their own knowledge and an unwavering commitment to broadening their understanding. Great minds don't indulge in boastful displays of their knowledge. Instead, they are profoundly intrigued by the vast expanse of what remains to be discovered. They understand that each answer unveils new questions and that the quest for knowledge is an infinite journey. Lifelong learners are characterized by their ability to extract educational value from every encounter and every individual they meet. Here's the key insight. Arrogance blinds us to our own weaknesses, while humility acts as a reflective surface, allowing us to see our flaws with greater clarity. But confident humility functions like a corrective lens, helping us to recognize, address, and overcome our weaknesses. This is why some level of self-doubt can be incredibly valuable. It keeps us learning, growing, and questioning our assumptions. The most dangerous person in any organization is often the one who's completely certain they have all the answers. But there's a crucial distinction between productive self-doubt and destructive self-doubt. Productive self-doubt asks, how can I improve? Destructive self-doubt asks, am I good enough? Productive self-doubt is focused on growth and learning. Destructive self-doubt is focused on self-worth and comparison. The goal isn't to eliminate self-doubt entirely. That would rob us of one of our most powerful tools for growth. The goal is to transform destructive self-doubt into productive self-doubt, to use uncertainty as fuel for curiosity rather than paralysis. When you feel that familiar twinge of, I don't know if I'm qualified for this, instead of letting it stop you, let it motivate you to learn more, to ask better questions, to seek out mentors and advisors. Use your awareness of your limitations as a roadmap for growth rather than a reason to quit. Remember, the real confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's knowing how to harness it. With Scoob, you can dive deep into the hidden truths of the mind with short, powerful episodes that stay with you. Download the Scoob app now on the App Store or Play Store and start listening today. Speaking of confidence, here's something that might challenge everything you think you know about reality and positive illusions. What if I told you that a certain amount of self-deception is not only normal, but actually essential for psychological well-being? For most of the 20th century, mental health was defined as being free from illusions. When we suspected someone was approaching insanity, we'd say they were losing touch with reality. A significant 1958 government report stated that mentally healthy perception occurs when one's view of reality aligns with what is actually there, emphasizing that healthy mentality allows one to recognize and cope with unpleasant truths without distorting them. But in 1988, psychologists Shelley Taylor and Jonathan Brown published a paper that turned this belief upside down. Early in her career, Taylor worked extensively with individuals who had experienced severe trauma, rape victims, cancer patients. These interactions were deeply challenging, but Taylor noticed something surprising. Many patients adopted self-deceptive beliefs about their futures. A cancer patient might confidently assert they would never have cancer again, despite medical prognosis indicating otherwise. Here's the shocking part. Patients who held these unrealistically optimistic beliefs were typically the ones who recovered most robustly, mentally speaking. Their self-deceptions, although factually inaccurate, appeared to facilitate their recovery. This led Taylor to explore the role of self-serving illusions among generally healthy and happy individuals. Through her research, she reached a revolutionary conclusion. The normal human mind operates with a significant positive bias. The mind consistently interprets events in ways that create benign fictions about oneself, the world, and the future. Taylor categorized these positive illusions into three main types. First, illusions of superiority. We routinely overestimate our own abilities and view others as less competent, partly because our benchmark is ourselves. These illusions are remarkably resilient. While people acknowledge that others might fall prey to biases, they believe themselves to be exceptions. Emily Pronin calls this the bias blind spot. Even when people learn about this bias, they maintain that their self-assessments are objective while others are likely biased. Second, unrealistic optimism. Students envision their futures as more successful than their classmates, predicting they'll graduate at the top of their class, secure high-paying jobs, and have exceptional children. Conversely, they expect to be less likely than peers to encounter addiction, divorce, or severe illness. In one study, participants predicted their own and others' ability to meet deadlines. They were overly optimistic about their own prospects and overly pessimistic about others. Third, illusion of control. People believe their actions can influence outcomes that are actually beyond their control. In craps, individuals throw dice harder when aiming for high numbers and softer for low numbers. In one experiment, successful professionals manipulated a computer-simulated stock market index. Despite their button presses having no effect, many believed they controlled its movement, and these were experienced traders. Interestingly, when faced with negative outcomes, people are much less likely to accept personal responsibility. Shelley Taylor illustrates this with traffic accident reports. As I approached an intersection, a sign suddenly appeared in a place where a stop sign had never appeared before. The telephone pole was approaching. I was attempting to swerve out of its way when it struck my front end. Psychologist Anthony Greenwald coined the term benefactance, combining beneficial and effective, to describe our drive to maintain the belief that I am nice and in control. Now, here's the fascinating part. This self-deception isn't necessarily detrimental. It facilitates social interactions and cooperation by allowing us to view ourselves and others as conscious, reasonable, and generally good people. A certain degree of self-deception also prevents paralyzing self-doubt. Philosopher William Herstein has suggested that the opposite of self-deception isn't self-awareness, but obsessive-compulsive disorder. Those with OCD cannot easily dismiss negative thoughts and must act on them compulsively, whereas self-deceivers can suppress and ignore such thoughts. There's evidence that overconfidence provided evolutionary advantages, aiding survival and reproductive success. Believing that having children will increase happiness facilitates the decision to reproduce. Falling in love despite possible disillusionment helps individuals commit to relationships long enough to raise children. Even believing in some form of existence beyond death contributes to a longer, healthier life. Without the capacity for self-deception, humans might lack the drive and resilience necessary to tackle life's challenges. Taylor describes positive illusions as the fuel that drives creativity, motivation, and high aspirations. Conversely, there exists a group devoid of positive illusions who perceive themselves with stark realism: the clinically depressed. They don't harbor exaggerated beliefs about their capabilities or overestimate their control over events. This phenomenon, known as depressive realism, suggests that depressed individuals may have a more accurate self-assessment than the general population. Most people require what social psychologist Roy Baumeister calls an optimal margin of illusion to cope with life's harsh realities. This margin can vary daily, beautifully captured in Joni Mitchell's song Both Sides Now, which reflects the pendulum swing between illusion and reality. Clouds depicted as feathered canyons and ice cream castles, eventually becoming obstacles that obscure the sun. The key insight? Positive illusions embed themselves deeply in the human psyche, facilitating mental well-being, social interaction, and personal motivation. Understanding this complex interplay between self-deception and reality provides profound insights into human behavior, challenging the notion that sanity equals undistorted perception of reality. Now that we understand the science behind positive illusions, let's explore practical ways to build genuine, lasting confidence. This isn't about creating more self-deception. It's about developing a foundation of inner strength that can weather any storm. The transformative effect that confidence has on our interpretation of facts is remarkable. It's not the facts themselves that change, but the assured attitude we bring to them. Those suffering from an inferiority complex interpret everything through a negative lens, distorting their reality. The key to overcoming this is adopting a normal, positive perspective. Here's a powerful exercise. If you perceive yourself as defeated and lacking confidence to succeed, sit down with a piece of paper and write down the factors that are in your favor rather than those against you. When we focus continually on obstacles and adversities, we amplify them beyond their actual potential. They become formidable giants in our minds. Conversely, by continuously visualizing, affirming, and reaffirming our strengths and assets, we can overcome any challenge, regardless of its nature. This positive focus reignites our inner strengths and can transform a defeatist attitude into a victorious spirit. One particularly effective concept for building confidence involves the belief that a higher power is constantly by your side, aiding and guiding you. Whether you frame this as God, the universe, or your highest self, this principle can significantly boost self-confidence. Spend a few moments each day affirming phrases like, "I am supported," "I am guided," and "I have everything I need within me." The thoughts that dominate your mind significantly influence your feelings of confidence. If you habitually think of defeat, you will naturally feel defeated. However, if you cultivate a habit of thinking positively and confidently, you will develop a strong sense of competence and capability. Confidence doesn't just alter your mental state, it physically boosts your strength and resilience. As Basil King put it, "Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid." This statement underscores a truth observed throughout history. Faith and confidence draw support from various sources. Ralph Waldo Emerson expressed another significant truth. They conquer who believe they can. He elaborated, "Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain." By practicing confidence and faith, fears and insecurities lose their hold on you. An effective method for someone plagued by insecurity involves studying and internalizing positive, empowering statements, reading inspiring text and underlining passages related to courage and confidence, then committing them to memory, floods the mind with dynamic, positive thoughts. This method can transform a person from hopelessness to compelling strength and magnetism. Here are 10 practical rules for building unshakable confidence. 1. Focus on your assets, not your obstacles. Make a daily practice of acknowledging your strengths, skills, and positive qualities. What you focus on expands. 2. Practice positive self-talk. Replace the critical inner voice with an encouraging one. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend facing challenges. 3. Visualize success. Daily. Spend time each day imagining yourself succeeding in your goals. Make these visualizations vivid and emotionally engaging. 4. Take action. Despite fear, confidence builds through action. Do the thing you fear, and fear loses its power over you. 5. Surround yourself with supportive people. Your confidence is influenced by the feedback you receive. Choose relationships that build you up. 6. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge every step forward, no matter how small. Progress builds momentum. 7. Learn from setbacks. Reframe failures as learning opportunities. Each setback contains valuable information for future success. 8. Develop your skills. Competence breeds confidence. continuously improve your abilities in areas that matter to you. 9. Help others. When you contribute to others' success, you naturally feel more capable and confident in your own abilities. 10. Practice gratitude. Regularly acknowledge what's going well in your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Remember, building confidence is not about becoming delusionally positive or ignoring real challenges. It's about developing realistic optimism, acknowledging difficulties while maintaining faith in your ability to handle them. The essence of confidence lies in the habitual thoughts that fill your mind. Make confidence a dominant habit through consistent practice, and you'll build a robust sense of capability that enables you to surmount difficulties as they arise. This is where everything we've discussed comes together. The wisdom of being wrong, the power of confident humility, the productive use of self-doubt, and the strategic application of positive thinking. Confidence isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting your ability to find them. As we reach the end of our journey today, let's take a moment to integrate everything we've discovered about the complex, fascinating, and ultimately empowering world of self-doubt. We began with a paradox, that the path to wisdom isn't about being right, but about being wrong in increasingly sophisticated ways. We learned that certainty is the enemy of growth, and that embracing our fallibility opens the door to continuous improvement. We explored the three enemies within and discovered how they work together to paralyze us. But we also learned that the antidote begins with action, even imperfect action, because making decisions breaks the cycle before it can gain momentum. Finally, we outlined practical strategies for building unshakable confidence, not through delusion or denial, but through focused action, positive self-talk, strategic visualization, and the consistent practice of confidence-building habits. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate self-doubt entirely. The goal is to transform it from an enemy into an ally, from a source of paralysis into a catalyst for growth. Your self-doubt isn't a bug in your programming. It's a feature. It's evidence that you care about improvement, that you're aware of your limitations, that you're committed to becoming better than you are today. The most confident people aren't those who never doubt themselves. They're those who have learned to doubt productively, to question without paralyzing themselves, to maintain hope while acknowledging uncertainty. As you move forward from here, carry with you this truth. You are perfectly imperfect, beautifully fallible, and infinitely capable of growth. Your self-doubt is not your enemy. It's your invitation to become who you're meant to be. The journey from uncertainty to confident humility isn't a destination you reach once and stay at forever. It's a daily practice, a continuous choice to embrace both your potential and your humanity. And that choice, it starts right now. Want more insights like this? Anytime you need them? Scoob delivers powerful, bingeable podcasts that challenge your thinking and fuel your growth in just minutes. Download the Scoob app now on the App Store or Play Store and make curiosity your daily habit. Thank you for joining me on this exploration with The Social Lens. I'm your host, Beatrice Goodwin, and until next time, remember, believe you can, question how you will, and take the next step forward.